August 30, 2021. That was when the United States completed the pullout of its troops from a war-torn Afghanistan. This withdrawal, it marked the end of a 20-year American operation in Afghanistan. This operation had begun after the September 9/11 2001 Al-Qaeda attacks on the United States homeland. Interestingly, roughly a decade before that important date, troops from the erstwhile United Soviet Socialist Republic, also known as the Soviet Union, had pulled out from the neighboring Afghanistan. This after their failure to establish a socialist communist regime like in Eastern Europe, in that strife-torn country. Apparently, the United States' support for the Mujahideen fighters, it gave the Soviets a bloody nose and prompted their hasty withdrawal. Coincidentally, the dissolution of the USSR came after that pullout. But the story, it doesn't end there. In course of time, it became clear that the fighters who gave the Soviets a hard time would not spare the Americans either. Historically, Afghanistan has been known for making foreign invaders bite the dust. Before the Soviets and the Americans, great powers like the Brits, the Persians, the Greeks, the Arabs, the Turks, and the Mongols, they all had suffered a fate no different in that country. They all incurred colossal losses in the rugged terrain, all that makes Afghanistan a graveyard of empires. Prolonged American presence in Afghanistan was a matter of concern, especially for two mighty countries in the neighborhood, Russia and China. No wonder if the American withdrawal provided them some solace, offered them an opportunity for celebrations, for shoring up their presence in their background. But the party time, it appears to be over for them, at least for now. Towards the end of 2021, the movement of Russian men and machine towards Ukraine began. This indicated that the theaters of war were shifting in a fast changing world, a world marked by increasing sub-regional, regional, and international tensions and the formation of defense military alliances like the AUKUS, that is Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States, and another bloc called the Quad, loosely termed the Asian NATO. It consists of the United States, Japan, Australia, and India. Apparently, these groupings are meant to bolster a United States led international order by curtailing the rise of China that has countries like Iran, North Korea, Russia, and Pakistan, or so it seems, as its allies, at least for now. While all this was going on, another international war theater emerged. Russia started the invasion of Ukraine towards the last week of February 2022. The involvement of the United States led North Atlantic Treaty Organization in this conflict. By the way, there's no dearth of experts who point that it's a NATO Russia conflict, with Ukraine as the battlefield, of course. This has complicated matters further, not just for the immediate neighborhood, but for the entire world. After the start of the war in Ukraine and the involvement of NATO in the same, It will be no surprise if the crop of experts reading the tea leaves start having second thoughts, if they start having second thoughts about their analysis vis-a-vis the decline of the reigning superpower and the automatic ascension of China in that coveted position. Indeed, decline of global powers is a slow and painful process. It is marked by years of conflict, fall of economic fortunes, and military might. For example, decades have passed by since the sun set on the British Empire, or so we thought, but the Brits, they continue to be a formidable force in South Asia and much beyond. Following the Russia Ukraine conflict, prices of oil and gas are skyrocketing. This is leading to hikes in the prices of both goods and services throughout the world, a world that runs primarily on oil and gas. Disruption in the supply of wheat and sunflower oil from the Black Sea region. This region is one of the six grain baskets of the world. This has worsened the food security scenario in ill prepared and unstable countries like Nepal. That again is not the end of the story. Ratcheting up tensions not only in the already tense Taiwan Straits but well beyond. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, visited Taiwan and Japan. Japan is another American ally. In early August 2022, she was leading a congressional delegation. Now, reports indicate that the Joe Biden administration was not quite comfortable with the visit of Pelosi. Pelosi has established herself as a China hawk. She has consistently raised issues like the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989. She has held talks with the Dalai Lama and other pro-democracy activists, and she has also expressed support for pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, much to the discomfort of Beijing. The high-profile visit, the high-profile China visit, the high-profile Taiwan visit of the American leader, it comes 25 years it comes 25 years after another important visit, the visit of then Speaker of the House of Representatives, Newt Gingrich. This visit has Beijing seething. In the wake of the visit, the People's Liberation Army fired missiles. These missiles landed not only in Taiwan but also in Japan's exclusive economic zone, per reports. These shots may continue to reverberate in the Asia Pacific region and much beyond. The Pelosi visit and the PLA shots come amid the talks of this Asian century. This century marked by a steady rise of China and India, increasing tensions between the two neighbors, and a steady decline of the national prowess of Nepal. Also, they come at a time when at least a section of the Japanese ruling elite wants to do away with the Pacific Charter, at a time when it wants the country's defense military wings to play an active role in national defense as well as global peace and security. Add to it recent hush-hush high-profile visits of Nepali leaders to New Delhi and the oncoming 5-day visit of India's Chief of Army Staff. 5 days are a very long time in a country whose rulers have gained notoriety, whose leaders whose rulers have gained infamy for taking important yet very controversial steps at the stroke of midnight, regardless of where they stand in the ideological spectrum. Not to be forgotten is the recent assassination of Japan's former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in the calm waters of Nara, the murder of a staunch Vladimir Putin supporter in the heart of Moscow, and a fresh push for citizenship provisions, a fresh push for lax citizenship provisions in Nepal. Remember, Nepal has already been sheltering displaced populations not only from the extended neighborhood but well beyond, thanks to a border that's open on our side. All these scenarios have geostrategic dimensions. They make it quite clear that the waters of the Asia Pacific region will get choppier and choppier as the days pass by. If the past is any guide, Nepal is not known for navigating roiling waters well. Treading with caution by adopting a policy of pragmatic neutrality may be the best bet for Nepal, given that the country has lost pounds of flesh during turbulent times when things fall apart and Simadarbar, the government secretariat, cannot hold. The Treaty of Sugauli with the Brits, inked in 1816 AD, and the 1950s Nepal-India Peace and Friendship Treaty are two cases in point, and so are controversial accords over quote unquote sharing of our lifelines, that is, our rivers. Who knows this better than our mandarins at the Lion Palace, that is, the government secretariat? With this open question, I wrap up this edition of Soft Talk. This is an initiative towards citizen journalism. We ask you all to support this endeavor by subscribing to the channel, by commenting on our presentation and liking these presentations, pressing the like button if it really touches your hearts and minds. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.